you recognizing my my picture game and how good it was.
That's great.
I love
He
your
did not
picture.
love it.
You just need to not be wearing a shirt. Naked Jeff should be a thing in this series.
Jeff shows up. Jeff shows up to the interview naked. You're hired.
You're just what
if
we're
you click
looking
on
for.
edit, so you should be able to edit your own character. Are you guys able to do that?
I can edit my name and bio and info. That's it.
Yes, I become a ghost.
But the other stuff, the talents and things, is different. That's separate. So
I hit
correct.
the X on everything. I can't adjust anything. It's just gray for me. Wait, here we go.
I'm like sneezing like crazy.
So I need.
So if you go to there's bio and info, and then you have character sheet, right? Can you guys edit the character sheet?
Yeah, I can edit it. I can give I have a name.
Yep, I just changed it to Graham Crook, just so you can see.
Okay, cool. All right, so this is where going back into the training manual here real quick. This is kind of where the traits and talents and all this other stuff. So I'm going to kind of explain a little bit as like a high level overview of which is each of these things are.
1 second, my keyboard.
So you have brains, muscles, moves, and cool. So brains are literally anything that requires intellect or wisdom. If you were to kind of bring that back to Dungeons and Dragons. So like if you needed to do something technical, like, repair a car or, do research or, utilize one of your tools in a way that necessarily isn't standard, like you're going to have to be able to have the brains to get past this. All right. Muscles, kind of self-explanatory there. That's your strength and constitution. If we were going to do Dungeons and Dragons, it's effectively your ability to overpower, to lift, to climb, to how well you get not necessarily hit, but if you can withstand physical damage or like without getting hurt. So like doing something strength wise gets that's where your numbers are there. Moves are anything in terms of like agility and dexterity. So running is a thing. Your ability to actually fire your proton pack, that requires a moves roll to do stuff. So for example, if you're trying to throw a trap into a specific area at distance, I would make you roll moves to do it properly. And then cool is practically everything surrounding charisma. So for instance, if you wanted to have if you wanted to negotiate the prices on something, maybe raise the price a little bit, or even block someone's negotiations to you in some regard, you can roll cool and see if you pass or fail. Me personally, I will be, taking into consideration, and this is just kind of to incentivize the role-playing aspect of this, to incentivize a little bit of everything going on. I'm going to be like, if you can, like, if you're trying to heckle someone or you're trying to negotiate something and you're not actively doing it, you're just like, I negotiate, I'm rolling. Like I'm going to make it more difficult. I'm just going to make it more difficult. You won't know that it's more difficult.
Play along.
Yeah, but if you play along, things will go more your way than otherwise. As Graham was kind of clicking around, there's the mortal and ghost button. This is something that I have to use for my characters as well, for like all my NPCs and all this other stuff. Agent Fred McGrath absolutely has his own character as well.
Yeah.
So we're not adjusting ghosts though, right?
No. You guys are mortals.
So
Ghost is just for you, right?
Yeah, I had one question on the it shows traits, which I know we put points into. We have the 10 points we put into or whatever. And then we have talents, and then in talents it has just a generic 3 with talent name, talent name, talent name. Is that just a templated thing?
So actually the 3 is part of it. Like, so, you know, what I would say right now before we move on to talents is
Let's get our traits in.
yeah, let's get all your traits in there. And let me make sure that you guys each have the correct numerical value. Oh, it's not this one that has the
12 points. That's what it is. 12 points.
Where did you find 12?
So
I'm reading
do we
this
get to
thing,
start
it's
off?
nothing but nightmare.
In traits. So in traits,
in,
it says,
yeah. So in traits, as we go through, we can only do a maximum of 20 points in traits right now. Or
it's, yeah, but we start with 12.
We start with 12.
Right.
Okay.
Correct.
Yes.
All right,
And
just
you
making sure.
can't
Just making
have
sure.
yeah,
12,
and you
you have
can't have a
12
trait
points.
more than 5 and a trait lower than 2.
Yeah, you can't have more than 5 until you've skilled up, or you're because we're not using templated characters.
Correct.
Was what I
well,
read.
I'll go a little bit more into that.
Like
So
if you were to
nothing lower
play,
than 2 at the moment, right?
Yeah, nothing lower than 2. Like, you have to figure. So this game's a D6 game. Let me move my cameras over so I'm actually facing it. So this is a D6 game, not D20. So these numbers that you're putting in there. So like, you have a brains of 4, right? You have a brains of 4. It means you're rolling 4 6-sided dice to beat the difficulty check that I have. Or vice versa, where like, if whatever I'm trying to do and I say, roll this, it's whether you get hit or not in that particular aspect. So like take that into consideration when kind of looking through stuff. What I would do too, if you want to do characters of yourselves, like I would talk a little bit about each other's character. If you want, I'm going to allow, at least at this stage,
to sort out who we are.
Yeah, to sort out a little bit who you are, because like, if it's a situation where no one puts any points in cool, like it's going to be difficult for you guys to make money.
All right, so Colin, 100%. Just reading through it though. So to talk about it, cool is you. Like at a 5.
I've already so kind of how I've already built mine out was I put mine as a 3 in brains, 2 in muscles, 3 in moves, and 4 in cool.
So I did 4 brains, 4 muscles, 2 in moves. Because if you read moves, it's hilarious. None of that is me at all. Like 0. If I could go down in move, I would do that.
See, I think this is my balance.
Again, you have to take into consideration moves also is your ability to fire the proton pack effectively. But that doesn't necessarily mean, and this is kind of something to think about too, that doesn't necessarily mean everyone needs to be the guy shooting the proton pack. Now, granted, yes, it's Ghostbusters and the proton pack is a very iconic thing. However, there are a ton of other tools and systems that need to be utilized throughout every campaign.
When they caught Slimer,
here's the thing.
Slimer, it was just Ray Stantz and Peter Venkman shooting the proton.
So here's the thing. This is how I think about that. So like if moves incorporates our ability to be able to shoot, we get more trait points as we level up, right?
Correct. I will go over leveling a little bit later, but you
anyway,
can get more traits later. Yeah.
So as it stands right now, like let's say I'm awful at shooting the proton pack, but I'm great at making it, right? Like I'm pretty decent at making it, and I can heft it around really easy. And then you can barter for all the parts, and you're pretty decent at shooting it. Like you have more of a knack for it, right, Colin?
What?
As time moves on, I can only imagine that I would get better at shooting the proton pack like Egon did, right?
Right.
It's how you build your character too. It's how you build your story as the narrative grows.
Right. So that's how I'm looking at that. I mean, if I were to do more of a caricature of myself, like I would be 4332. Because I legitimately have good marksmanship skill. But that doesn't mean I'm good with the
You
proton
said
pack.
4332.
Yeah.
You have a 2 in moves there then.
I just updated it.
Oh, okay. John, I don't see any numbers for you for cool.
So, but
yeah, I'm thinking about where I want to distribute things.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
so like I just started everything at 2 because that's our minimum, and
Sure.
I adjusted it from. So, it again to help move this story along, I put brains higher because brains is like the programmer, the mechanic,
Yep.
electronics guy. Like,
Yep.
I figure things out really quick with the investigative side of it.
Yep.
And I'm a strong guy. So like if I were to do 4-4 4-4-2-2, that would make sense for me as well, just because I'm not a weak guy.
Right.
But I can't do like 4-4-4, 4-4-4 and then nothing and cool.
Exactly. But then again, I mean, Egon was not charismatic.
Well, we have a baseline of 2.
Right.
So again, where I am right now is, and Colin, you're gonna have to help me, right? Do you think 4-3-3-2 makes more sense, or 4-4-2-2?
I think you should be higher in muscle, not because I think that your moves are bad. I just think it would make more sense for the character build. Like that, you know what I mean? Like, so if you took one out of moves, you're sort of the front line. I look at you as kind of like the front line guy.
Like I can run in and get it set up, and
Graham,
then
you tank.
Yeah, I can run in, get it set up, and you got my back.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. That's how I view it.
At least in terms of that logic, just an FYI, like you proton packs aren't melee weapons.
No, I understand that, but
tanking isn't really a thing.
No,
It's
I
silly
know.
as that sounds.
But I'm saying there's still reasons to have there's still reasons to have someone very strong, because there's places you want to get into, things you need to move. Like,
for example,
our
car breaks down.
He can just
I need to lift
on his
something.
shoulders.
I can lift something incredibly heavy to pick it up and move it, right? So that I can work on it.
Or
the
even in
entire
that
team
situation, pushing it out of the road is the thing.
Yeah.
Right. And with the brains as well. So I can roll brains like, hey guys, I'm going to push this. I need your help. Like I'm going to roll as high as I can to push it. And then additionally, I can be like, I need one of you on either side to make this easier as well. And I'll roll the brain, and then they can roll their muscle to do it too. Right.
Right. So just now, so in that one, like if you guys are doing a little bit of RP and being tactical about it, like you're not gonna have to roll. What would be a good example of that is that, like, if you have to do a specific action that isn't tactical or strategic, but if you have to do a specific action, there's most likely going to be a check for it. So you pushing the vehicle is going to be a muscles check. You doing a quick diagnostic and seeing if you can fix it is going to be a brains check. You jumping out of the way of a moving vehicle or recognizing that a moving vehicle is coming towards you, that would be moves. And then cool would be a, talking yourself out of a ticket for having a vehicle that just, that didn't pass safety inspection.
Yeah.
Right. So, now I'm going to kind of, nothing's really set in stone, at least at this point. I'm going to say, like, speak now and forever hold your peace, and that's your character. We're not at that stage yet. We're going to kind of move on to the next bits, which is talent. So, in the, in the manual, it does give you a list of talents that might be applied to, specific things. Those are just examples. If you want to come up with one, like, just let me know and I'll see if that works. There's one talent in there that I will not allow.
Which one is that?
Without more detail. and that is fire weapon.
Oh,
And that's
fire
under
weapon
moves,
is
right?
yeah, fire weapon is extremely vague. I'm going to have to say, like, you're gonna have to like give me more detail as to like what type of weapon you're talking about. Now you can say proton pack,
But then how
but you're
would
gonna have to
you
give me right. Like that's the thing though. Like you can say fire proton pack, and I'd be like, okay, where'd you learn how? And if you don't RP it, and you don't give me a good story as to how you know how to fire a proton pack already.
So you have high brains and high moves, and then you just go, I've always been interested with Tesla and Tesla coils, and I've created these really cool experiments with the chainmail. I saw people doing it online, and I did it with a friend. Unfortunately, he got barbecued.
Right. Something along those lines. I'm not saying I'll say no to something flat out all the time. You just have to give me you as a person, not as a character, but as a person, have to convince me that like, okay,
we pick one of these, right? For each talent, for each like one brain's talent, one muscle's talent, one move's talent, one cool.
Correct.
That's what. Okay, just want to make sure I
What
wasn't.
is raise children?
It's a there's a lot of very half-assed jokes in this manual.
Yo, they're really bad.
Like some of
They're
the weapons
really
and
bad.
equipment some of the weapons and equipment you can get is technically a rocket launcher, and it's like, okay.
I started reading the operations thing, and it was all this like pat on the back, like oh my god, like humor.
Yeah, it's
bad.
pretty rough. That's why I'm not actively telling going through that kind of stuff. But I mean, then again, variety is a little bit of spice. So it says here moves for like breakdance. If you think there's going to be a situation where breakdancing would be a thing, and you run into a situation where breakdancing could solve a problem, maybe going against a dancing ghost, okay, if you want. And also there's also a lot of things that don't make sense in terms of talent, where it says like gossip is under moves. Like that's no,
And it's just a 3 next to each one of those, right?
yeah. So like I see what they're trying to do there with gossip. Like moves is also kind of like, God, what is it like? I don't like it. I don't like it. This one, honestly, I think that'd be more cool.
It's like strut. It's like a different kind of strut. It's like swagger.
Yeah. Like he's got moves, man. I'm going to say that those types of abilities are going to be under cool, not moves. I'm strictly looking at moves as your characters as agility, agility and dexterity. Yeah, breakdance would be like agility.
I would
dexterity.
say that's moves.
Yeah, but like,
so are you happy with mine?
Like, let's see. Sorry, I've got like 2 screens open. 1 second.
No, it's fine.
Yeah. All right, so we've got.
Okay, I'm good. I'm done. All right.
All right, so Grands is done.
I'm done. I'm done.
Okay. Kick things over.
The way I saw that is like not like there's a wall like heavy kick things
right.
over. I see it as like let's say like there's a safe in the way or something like that, right? And I can like something I can legitimately kick over that would require muscle, right? I kind of put that like kick things over or like push things over. I put that in the same category.
Kick,
like,
instead of just saying
move.
kick, just say knock. Just say knock things over.
I'm gonna get some water.
I'd be okay with knocking it over.
Because I mean,
okay.
If
the
you want to look
idea-
at mine, I'm going to get
Yeah.
water.
Because so like the idea
Yeah.
is that like if there's something in the way, or if I need to put something big in front of us, right? I can
Yep.
knock it over, or I could do like my moves and my muscles to be like, hey, I'm gonna pick it up and throw it over, and then kick it the rest of the way, or something, or like push it in the right place.
So like throwing it would be, throwing it would be like, can you lift it, which is muscles, and moves would be, can you bring it in the, can you make it land where you want it to?
Right. But
that
you get
means
what I'm
anything.
saying. Like the idea.
Yeah.
So like a tech guy that's muscular is the way I'm looking at this.
Right. Okay. Your other two are fine. When it comes to sorry, 1 second.
I mean, I could always do.
So
Yeah.
I legitimately think fire weapon can be one of my moves.
Okay.
Because I have taken a concealed carry course and I carry every single day. And
Okay.
yep, I have extensive knowledge with firearms. It doesn't have to be with a proton pack, but I did read
legitimate
firearms,
Okay.
but then there's also a proton pistol. So I'm guessing,
Right.
You may have a knack for it,
Right.
but you don't know it right now.
yeah,
Right. So I'm going to go so far as to say is that instead of it being fire weapon, I'm going to say firearm.
firearm. Okay.
Yeah. So, you may have a proton packs and, all of its upgrades, the pistols, the slime thrower, like all that other stuff. You might have like a ability to pick it up fairly quickly, but there's a lot more to it than just pulling the trigger and go.
Sure.
So personally how guns work, where you don't know how a proton stream is going to react when you start letting it off.
But in terms of the RP,
there
I could explain that to you.
but there are there could be situations where like you understanding how firearms work and or utilizing firearms could be a thing.
So moves, right?
Yeah, that would be moves.
Okay.
Yeah. Is using firearms effectively. Maybe I won't get this pedantic. I was just thinking commercial firearms.
No, that's fine. That's fair though.
Yeah.
If we're gonna keep it grounded in some sort of reality.
Right.
So
Yeah,
Jeff,
'cause, like,
I'm going to change my move to drive vehicle and make it -4.
But I already got drive vehicle.
Okay.
Get out of here.
yeah. Jeff picked drive vehicle.
Nice.
Okay, so I'm gonna take a look at Collins real quick. Psychoanalysis. Okay, that's pretty much just the ability to understand. It's like scientific empathy. Climb, balance, and convince.
Are
Can
convince and bargain similar? Like too similar?
no. So I would say
Mhm.
bargain is you're
I'm trying to get a deal.
yeah. You're trying to get a deal specifically, and that could mean
So in terms of bartering, so that's where
trading,
the
coupon.
I see bargaining
or-
more as
yeah.
bartering. Bluff is trying to lie your way through.
And convince is
Right.
definitely getting someone to get on your side.
oh,
Whatever
so
you're
like the
trying to get them
Jedi,
to do.
like the Jedi mind trick kind of.
Yes.
I just want to make sure that I have all
Yeah.
of these in place.
Convince is more of a 100. Like I want them on. I can get someone to completely come to whatever I want.
And a bargain is the tit for tat thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I would even say in terms of convince is not necessarily with what you want, but you're able to communicate your intentions effectively enough that they understand you.
Mhm.
So that they can be on your side. So like, if you've got somebody that is, part of the law and whatever, and they're just extremely, paladin-esque of like, Judge Dredd, I am the law. You're not going to be able to convince them to join and murder someone, but you might be able to communicate your intentions of, no, we're trying to help you guys and trying to do something. So
It's debate
thing
is what it comes down to. It's
yeah, exactly.
good debate.
It's winning debate.
Cool.
But in a more empathetic way instead of just a I've got more points thing.
Yep.
Moving over to John. We have psychoanalysis as well. We have swimming, we have firearm, and we have borrow. That's a fun one.
Here, you know what? If John does psychoanalysis, I was jumping on a couple. I can pick a different one so that way we can be more balanced.
You could both can pick the same thing like that.
Okay,
I just
okay,
picked that
yeah.
because my psych degree, so I was like, and I have
no,
a
that
2
makes
in
sense,
brains. I have 2 in brains, so
Right.
it could be kind of funny because I'm like trying to psychoanalyze this person, but I'm shit at
We're
it.
getting the win in brains.
I like this. Okay, never mind. We're gonna keep it that
Yeah.
way. I like this.
Okay. And I'm also going to explain some things also as mechanics move, that we kind of have this stuff. So Jeff has mathematics, lift, drive, vehicle, and bluff. I think those are fine. What specific type of mathematics?
What
All-
kind of mathematics do you want?
All mathematics.
Yeah, like are you
Oh my
literally
God.
like
Calculus, you want-
He's Rain Man.
You want quantum mechanics?
I mean, I could change my
but
brain so I can
that's up
support
to you.
wizardry.
That's up to you. But yeah, so like, are we
What
talking
I
about
can remember?
physics? Are we talking about calculus? Are we talking about statistics?
Numerology.
You know what I mean?
I mean,
Numerology, like I'd allow that.
The mathematics of Scientology.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So, mate, instead of just like an entire field of stuff, if you can do a very specific thing, because each one of those things will have its place. To be completely honest, so if you do, statistics, you'll be able to, take a look at all the data or you'd be able to have an advantage of taking a look at all the data. In terms of police reports and all this other stuff, and be like, I know where the next thing is probably going to be. You're dealing with calculus. If you're trying to come up, or if you're trying to set up a very specific trap field, like if everybody saw in Ghostbusters 2, where they set up that field around the diamond store or whatever, like that could in terms be like calculus. In terms of physics,
Dude, trig makes sense for all those, like trigonometry.
yeah,
When you think about it, right?
Or
In
Jeff,
the
you
terms
like the
of
sign-
like,
it honestly
that's same with
it
calculus.
honestly all right, but see, like it all honestly has its place, but I'm just going to need something a little more specific because you can't just say all math
We can't-
ever.
You can't
But
say
yeah.
physics because physics is its own separate thing.
Yeah, but he could be but if he was Scientology math, then he could count the amount of alien ghosts that we have.
of all
in
the
each
alien
of
ghosts
our
that we've
minds.
captured, increases
Right.
his math.
He gets one talent for every alien
Tom Cruise
ghost.
becomes a ghost.
Sorry, Ian.
Okay. So in this type of instance, then Jeff, what type of mathematics are you suggest? Like, give me examples of when
I
you
would just
say
say calculus.
mathematics. You just say calculus.
Okay.
We'll make it easy for you.
Okay.
Do you want to do
Well,
like
even then, I mean,
mathematics
try
in
to convince me
parentheses
too.
calculus?
Yeah. I mean, try to convince me too. Like, what are some instances you think mathematics would be like a general mathematic
Jeff,
talent
roll your
would
bluff
be?
to be able to
Yeah,
get
right.
him to allow you to do all that.
I got
Do it.
this.
Roll. You can roll right now in
Yeah,
chat.
right.
Do it.
I got this.
No. All right, let's see it. Let's see what happens. Oh no, there's no way. No way.
I got 12. That's gotta be high.
Yeah,
enough.
I mean, 12 to put it into perspective, the normal tasks are normal, but like normal difficulty. Not easy, but like normal tasks are anywhere between 12 to 15.
How do you roll a trait like that? Sorry.
There's a dice.
Sure.
right next to
So
your
yeah.
talent.
So give it a second. So
So
with
if I were to be like
mathematics
brain,
in there,
boom. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, electronics.
Yeah, sorry.
You just rolled electronics specifically, and what that does is it takes your brains and your your brain's roll count and your electronics roll count puts them together.
Wait, sorry. How,
Is that
how
a
does this
decent
work
roll?
again?
I don't understand.
Colin.
So that is
Yeah,
that
no,
a-
20 would be like
There you go.
you're
I
able to
convinced Ian.
fix your proton
That's
pack
Colin
on
rolling for me.
site.
Colin convinced you.
You're able to convince, well, like honestly, like a roll of 20 would be like and like a 27 too. Like with a roll of 27, you could, like, Colin could have convinced a ghost potentially to cross the other side depending on its ectopresence. Or like
All right.
Yeah.
Do you want me to actually explain here, Ian, for you?
for mathematics.
Sorry,
Go
I
for
think
it.
I'm
Yeah,
doing
Mathematics, and say there's a certain ghost running away, I could tell John exact angle based on
I'm
the
like-
speed on when to shoot his proton.
my brains are 2,
Right.
so
But at that point though, if you say, hey, you need to do it at a 67-degree angle, I'm going to make him roll brains so that he fully understands what a 67-degree angle
It's not gonna happen.
looks like.
Yeah, Grim, he
Oh,
should
but
have mail math. He should have mail
Dang it.
math as his thing. So he can count. He's really good at counting all the paper on the desk.
Really quick, Rain Man style.
Yeah.
wait.
But
In all seriousness,
you
I
know
don't
what,
know how to
though?
roll
You know what?
anything.
Oh, okay. So in your character sheet, next
Yeah.
to the number that you put in, you see there's like a weird looking dice thing. There's a
Okay.
button.
It looks like a film.
Click
thing.
it. Click the film thing,
I'm sorry.
and then look at chat.
Graham, who here's the only one who has
Oh.
bachelor's in
Okay,
mathematics?
so all right, so Jeff, how about this then? What I'm going to do is I'm going
Yeah.
to just make it a little bit more Ghostbustery and say your talent is going to be psychomathematics.
Psychomathematics.
There you
Yeah,
go.
yeah. So effectively, going into the whole numerology thing and like all this other stuff, you have an innate ability to understand how numbers apply themselves to the spiritual realm, but that also does mean you do have a better chance at doing math-like things anyway, but not very specific math-like things. So like if somebody needed somebody is like, hey, I need you to like add up all this shit on the expense report, you'd be able to do that easily.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't be able to necessarily do the accounting.
Oh,
John just rolled a brain thing and hurt himself in confusion.
He heard himself in confusion, and then he couldn't leave.
and I drowned in a puddle.
Wait,
Then
I
he-
got
All right.
No,
So
he
I got
managed to swim. He managed to swim through the puddle.
Did I catch?
Okay,
Oh, I
so-
didn't catch John. Oh, sorry, John.
all right, everybody.
All right, that's fine. Let's go.
So
Let's-
there is an instance that I do want to try out with you guys, and
All
we're
right.
already moving on to the first hour. So Jeff, if you could update to psychomathematics or something, spooky, I don't know, something along those lines. I think that's acceptable.
And college chef got a degree. And college chef got a degree in ghost math.
So something also that I'm not 100% sure why the game does this. So although it says your task total is 12, you'll notice that you're kind of missing a die. So like, swim was 5d6, but Jeff's
Yeah.
is technically 6 die. So in the game, there is a dice that everyone has to roll that has a little Ghostbuster icon on it, and you can kind of see it there.
Yeah.
So that ghost die is effectively a 0 when it
God
lands
damn
on
it,
that.
John! You can't even swim in the puddle.
No. Okay, so I'm gonna work this out. So this isn't necessarily a critical fail. It's just, I guess the best way of putting it is unlucky. If you don't roll a ghost die, the number gets applied to the task total. So really, with with Jeff having just rolled, it was 12. We would also add 3. But if it was a ghost, it would just be 13 with goat. Does that make sense?
Okay, so you got
Okay.
16. So you still
So
swim
yeah.
in a
correct.
puddle.
Now, ghost die is literally like just something unlucky happens. That doesn't necessarily mean you fail the roll. It just means something, bad happens with it. So
It's a
an example
whoopsie.
of something, failed and unlucky happens would be like, okay, you try to shoot the ghost with your proton pack, but as you're firing, something fizzles on it, and it's obvious your proton pack is weaker now.
Cool.
That would be something that's unlucky, and then that would require brains or electronics to fix on the fly.
Cool.
Something that would pass and be unlucky would be like, you hit the ghost, but as it was flying away, you hit a priceless work of art, and it destroyed it, which would make the end result much more difficult to deal with, because now it's all like, yeah, I would pay you if you didn't blow up the Van Gogh I had, So, and then that's where convince and that's where convince would come in. That's where bargain would come in. And all
right,
these other
so what are
types of things.
we doing now, man?
Okay. All right. So from this point, I'm going to give. This is kind of a little bit where I say, speak now or forever hold your peace when it comes to your talents and traits. Is everyone okay with your talents and traits? Once we're past this point,
should I have put in a goal? Because we said something about goals.
Not
so
yet.
we did
No,
that.
we're gonna move that
Okay.
through, but really we're just focusing on the numbers
Yep.
bit right
They're
now.
fine. Okay, I'll
The
remove.
goals.
We're good.
All right. Yeah. So now moving on to goals, and brownie points. So brownie points act as an extra, your XP, your mana, your health, literally all of the above. It's kind of a weird mechanic, to be completely honest. But for instance, if you get hit by a ghost, your brownie points are going to get hurt unless it's a specific attack on, like a temporary attack on like your brains or something, or whatever. So your brownie points are, I guess, to kind of explain it. So I've already explained it for health. I'm going to explain it for XP also. So once you get 30 or more brownie points, you can convert the 30 brownie points to a trait. So you can level up one of your traits with 30 brownie points.
Do you go back to 20 again after that, or
No.
Oh,
No. So like if you have 30 and you if you have 30 and you decide to blast it all into one particular trait or whatever, it's like, okay, you have 0. And between each session, or at least how the mechanics work, is every time you rest, you get half of the starting brownie point score, which is 20. So like the next session, you would get 10, you'd have 10 brownie points.
Oh, okay. So
Right.
so it would be like if I used all of my points at the end of a session, the next session I would have 10.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So like this is how XP kind of works. I can take and give brownie points away, depending on good or bad things that happen. If it's a situation where you guys fail to capture the ghost at the end of it, I'm only going to allow you to get a quarter of your brownie points back for the next one. Something along those lines. Because again, brownie points are your health. If you dump all your stuff into something else, like you'll have low health. So it's a little bit of a balancing act there. And then
What's the
finally,
maximum brownie that you can have on your person?
hundreds.
Okay.
Technically, there's no theoretical. There's no.
You're gonna want to be putting
unlimited
points. You're gonna be wanting to level up traits.
Oh no,
though.
I get that. But what I'm saying is, like, I was
Exactly.
just curious what the maximum.
I'm considering doing a brownie point allocation for specific talents, but I don't have that yet, and nor is it in the actual rules, so that would be a house rule. I don't know yet. Anyway, so the third final thing that brownie points can be used for. So like I said before, everything is, every number you see on here is equating to one 6-sided die, right? You can redeem a brownie point for an additional dice roll.
No. So you can re-roll one die with one brownie point.
No, you can add it to your roll. So instead of brains being, for 3, you can say, okay, I'm gonna give up 2 brownie points and roll 5 6-sided dice.
Okay, so you can game an encounter a little bit, but by spending some. Okay.
Correct.
Good.
So like I said, it's like the catch-all point of like, okay, it's your health, it's your XP, it's literally everything. Okay. So another way to also get brownie points, and this goes into the goal portion of it, whenever you succeed at doing a goal, you get 10 brownie points.
Okay.
Or at least I'm setting it up for 10 brownie. So for instance, some of the, let's see, what was it? Yeah, to get brownie points for this, you need to go on that's like, sex is not going to be a goal for anyone. That's just awkward.
That never happens in marriage.
Crap.
Yeah.
I'll
What?
secretly give you a hand job from the back so you get a brownie point.
Nice.
No.
So another thing too to keep in mind is, like if you do die, so to speak, or like you lose all brownie points, you're effectively incapacitated, and depending on the move that did it to you, you will lose a trait point.
Okay.
So
Okay.
there's severity in that, and whatnot, because if Jeff, what's your, who has the brains too? Okay, yeah, okay, John, like if you are possessed by someone and that's how you go down, like you're gonna have a 1 of brains, and that's rough. That's effectively like
Just
I mean, that's really effectively like you can't do anything that requires any sort of intellect.
just to
Successfully,
clarify,
at
2 is normal. Just to like, right? Like
2
I'm
is
not
low.
like
2
2 is low.
Yeah,
You have to.
3 is
2 is the baseline.
average for starting. Yeah,
Yeah.
for starting stuff. 3 is average. 2 is below average.
Okay.
4 is above average. 5 is
Cap.
I don't want to say exceptional, but like you definitely know what you're doing.
I can RP 2, I think.
Okay. Well, yeah, but at that point though, it's again,
I'm
these
really
are
looking
actions.
forward to
You
the
can
interview with
say
John.
you can say any dumb shit you want and it can be correct or not, but when you're actively doing the action, so like I'm going to analyze the spectrometer to ensure to see what type of ghost this is, and
Got
it's
it.
like you could right, it's just like you could be looking at the spectrometer and just staring for like
Right.
15
I'm just
minutes
getting-
before
I'm
somebody's
getting
like,
real on my-
and
Sure, go ahead and roll that, please.
I'm getting
Yeah,
real
yeah,
of
exactly,
mice and
exactly.
men.
So-
I'm getting a real of mice
right.
and men vibe with this character.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, he couldn't swim though. He drowned, didn't he?
The ghost tried to drown
Well,
him
you're yeah.
in a puddle.
Yeah, so here are the brownie points for adventures. The fail to get the ghost or otherwise botch the job. The Ghostbusters return each Ghostbuster half the brownie points he or she spent during the game. So like if you're utilizing brownie points during the during the fight. If the Ghostbusters get the ghost or otherwise satisfactory job, the Ghostbuster returns all of the brownie points he or she spent during the game, and perhaps maybe a few more as kind of like XP. And if the Ghostbuster does an excellent job, the Ghostmaster may award even more than that. But that's again still up to my thing. I'm saying at a minimum, no matter what, like at the beginning of each session, you're gonna have a minimum of 10. Like if you spend all your points like to level up, that's totally fine. I'm not going to refund that as part of the action sort of thing because that's dumb. But At the beginning of each one of our sessions, everyone will always have a minimum of 10. All right. So going into personal goals, personal goals are, again, very specific things that your character can do on or off the job that gains them bounty points. So, I see here Colin says serving humanity. That's a little bit that's a little bit vague in a sense. So I'm going to ask that it be a little bit more specific, but you can be like, doing charitable actions. So for instance, if, Colin were to convince everybody, or just say, hey, you know what? This ghost busting catch is on the house. Colin would get additional brownie points for committing to that action because he's doing a charitable work. Anything in terms of goal is kind of up to my discretion, to be completely honest, whether it meets it or not. It kind of goes into the convince me sort of deal if it gets a little ambiguous. Like if Colin says, yeah, but I gave the guy in front of me $1. That's a charitable work, isn't it? And it's like, no, it's not. It's not enough. For Graham, that's an interesting one, Graham. Like, I would say your goal, instead of resolve a technical problem, I would say, like, because that could be anything. Like, your stuff can break
I
constantly.
changed it. I put it in parentheses, like electronics or computer.
I'm going to say it'll be a resolve. I'm going to focus it a little bit more on resolving a technical problem that is more dealing with research. Not like bubblegum and, not bubblegum and paperclip fix your proton pack. But like, if you like I'm like, for instance, I'll get to this later. You can do research and whatnot. And how I'm going to work on it is whoever's doing the research is going to be rolling brains to determine whether it goes to the next step of research. What I will do is every single time you get to the next stage of research, or you run into an unlucky or whatever the date, the thing previously. So if you fail something and then you find a way past it in research or something along those lines, then you'll get brownie points for that.
So just say resolve research.
I updated mine again.
Yeah, I'd say resolve research. And then I'll understand what that means. All right.
I updated mine. I added more to it.
Yeah. What does Jeff
So
have?
explain that to me again. So it's either
Yeah,
new
please.
state, like new research, or
whenever
overcame.
when you're researching something, and whenever you run into something stuck, and how I'm going to work at that is that, like, if you run, if you do a brains roll on something and it runs up with a ghost die, it means that the next time you're not going to be able to it you're gonna move to the next level. But if you have a ghost die, you're gonna get stuck at that next level until you can break the loop, and that's gonna be a difficulty check.
So how does that sound? Resolve research, new stage of research, or overcome being stuck.
Yeah.
Like I have that in parentheses just to clarify it.
It has to be you doing it too. You can't necessarily say, all right, let's all put our brains together on this. It has to be you specifically one solving the problem.
That's fine.
Saving money for a bass boat. I mean, that's fair.
Yeah.
That can be a goal.
Yeah. Chip in a little bit of money each week. All I want to do is buy a bass boat.
I want to get this bass boat. Deuces.
Yeah, you're gonna have to give me a You're gonna have to give me a dollar figure, but we don't have to do that right now.
Okay. I'll look up a reasonably expensive bass boat.
Yeah.
special?
And the goal is purchasing the bass boat.
Right.
It isn't necessarily saving
They're
money
so
for it because I'm
cheap.
not going to give you brownie points every
Oh,
time you
okay,
put
okay.
something in.
They're so cheap.
Yeah.
They're like $5,000, $6,000.
Yeah, but he's not very smart. He's not good with money. He's not a
Bass
I
math-
mean,
That-
he could buy it. He could buy it on
Oh, yeah.
Alibaba.
Let me
Wait, how many
look at
bass
bass
boats is
boats.
he getting?
All right, Jeff. I don't see a goal for you yet. You still thinking of one?
Yeah, someone help me out here.
All right. I mean, there's some in here like soulless science, serving humanity, wealth.
How about successfully driving the vehicle to destination? Successful
I mean,
routes.
This needs to be a bigger goal, Jeff.
I mean, you can make your goal in that case then, like win the
my daily
local
goal.
racing circuit. Like if you want to be a driver, like make it so that it's a driving goal. So like
delivery of ghost to containment.
Oh, there we
no,
go.
that's too easy.
Jeff
I mean,
wants
you
to
do
be
that.
the position 1 driver for Red Bull Racing.
That's too easy.
Yeah.
All right.
That's what. Yeah, that's too easy. Yeah, because that'll happen literally every session.
Jeff,
maybe
Jeff wants
he's
to
the
be
one
the
That
he's the
catches
driver.
the ghost.
No, so what I would say a good goal is, if you want driving to be it, is
No,
that
I
like
don't. I just.
He's just being dumb.
as an example though would be like winning the top of the leaderboard of a local drag strip. That would be a goal.
I just put in $100,000 boat. So
Oh my god! So you're buying a yacht?
no, it's a bass boat. That's
No.
$100,000.
He's buying a shrimp boat.
Yeah.
You can saute them. You can fry them.
So I want you can think about your goal at least a little bit during the week. We're not going to be really messing with that kind of stuff right now, and I'm not going to kind of push it. The next section of the book kind of goes into a little bit about these difficulty things I talked about before. So, it kind of tells you like automatic successes, like technically driving a car, eating a hot dog, stuff like that. That's just stuff that works. But, in terms of driving a car, getting to your, you can drive a car fine, but that doesn't mean you're necessarily getting to your destination. You're just moving it forward. Easy jobs are 5 or more. Parallel parking. Good example in terms of cars. Figuring out a tax form 1040 EZ. That's a good one for brains and whatever. But that's, that for normal jobs, roll 10 or more. Now you're starting to get into something a little bit more difficult but not too crazy. Some examples here are like understanding an ancient occult book. So like John, for instance, like right now, you only have 2 dice for brains. Your maximum roll is 12.
12.
Okay?
Yeah.
So doing normal jobs is a little difficult for you.
Got it.
You know what I mean? But, for instance, like, but your muscles, for instance, that's a theoretical maximum of 24. If I did that math. Yeah. And whatnot, which allows you to do a theoretical maximum of like really hard jobs, and whatnot, and more difficult normal jobs, for instance. So, like these are examples, again, they get into really dumb things like impossible jobs. Number 5 is winning an argument about religion. Like number 4 is like eating a telephone. Winning the Indianapolis 500 in a Honda Civic. Like that kind of stuff. Like I said with the ghost die is literally just unlucky. Something, it's like the monkey's paw type situation. The ghost die is the monkey's paw. You can win, you can fail, but in the end, like there's something a little extra gets applied to it. Okay, so from that point, in terms of all your characters, these are your Ghostbusters. These are your ID cards. These are your characters.
Cool.
They're you.
God dang it.
Yeah. That was a little shoehorned in there. And I couldn't find it. I've got so many friggin' things loaded in here. I was just like, where the fuck is it? And I was like stalling for time. Gotta learn how to search this thing a lot better.
Get a stream deck so you could just hit
Yes.
buttons.
Yeah, soundboard.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. But Roll20 doesn't do that, so it's like it's sassy. Anyway, so kind of going into a little bit about the story. So a representative of Ghostbusters International comes to you, Colin and Graham, because you've shown interest and you've put money down on the franchise and whatnot, and it's all in good faith. So they've come down and says, all right, we have your paperwork ready for you. You're going to need to sign a standard boilerplate waiver that Ghostbusters International isn't necessarily responsible for anything you do, even if it does set fire to your city. You are solely responsible. And as part of the EPA, we have to ensure that everybody gets these licenses until that they get their official one from the EPA. So over here, he puts down two documents out on the table. Again, one is the release from damages, and one is the temporary permit from the Environmental Protection Agency. If you could, click on the freehand tool and sign your names anywhere on those documents, and we can officially
Which
get
tool?
this.
Sorry.
On the drawing thing on the
On the left side of Roll20, you'll see an arrow, a box, a little paintbrush, a lightning bolt.
So freehand. Okay.
Where's the
Yeah.
what am I drawing? What am I signing?
You're assigning anywhere on these documents. I didn't put a shadow on them. I apologize.
I don't have documents to sign yet.
Oh, god dang it. I forgot to move everybody over. There we go. Boom. I'm getting used to it myself. This is a learning exercise for everybody. Okay, so it's two documents on the paper. It's just sign these. You don't have to worry about reading them too much. I mean, everybody figures this stuff out constantly. And look, it's already got a pre-notarized stamp on it.
Yeah, I'm reading it.
Free
It's got a
notarized.
pre-notarized stamp. So you don't even have to worry about it getting notarized. So if you just sign this, perfectly fine. We'll keep moving for. Oh, great. I see one of you signed it already. Proper doctor right there. Am I right?
Well, that's great. And without any liability whatsoever now or any future date forever.
That's all legal stuff. I wouldn't necessarily worry so much about that. I mean, at this point, we all know that Ghostbusters. We all know that Ghostbusters are the heroes here. And we just need to make sure that they can continue to be the heroes and that you're able to be the heroes without us being tied on your back all the time.
Come on, Graham. We got this. We can do this. Sign
I'd
it.
like to negotiate this.
You can't. Sign it.
This is awful, Colin.
Sign it.
Okay. Roll a brains. Or roll a cool.
What am I convincing though?
Negotiate. If
What
you
am
want
I
to negotiate, you don't necessarily have to convince or anything. But if Graham says he wants to negotiate it.
In pursuit of said services action, franchise agent may create, cause, invoke, prompt, induce, or accidentally perform reasonable action with cause unreasonable damage to client's home, furnishings, property, blah blah blah. So this is what we can do, right? Without
Well,
guilt.
it frees Ghostbusters International from all of these.
We get in trouble for the damage we do. They're saying they don't get in trouble for doing it.
Correct.
It's fine.
They
That's
also
not,
have a document that you can give everybody, your clients, as a template. These two documents are very similar, but this releases Ghostbusters International damages.
Why is it 3 signatures?
I
What?
signed each document separately.
All right.
Alright.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, and Colin just signed them both. Yeah, we'll tape them together. All right, so that's awesome. So one of your first things you're gonna have to do, even before you get an HQ, even before you get a car and all this other equipment, we need to make sure that you're properly staffed to do this job. Even though we are released from a lot of damages, we really don't want to see you dying. So we need to ensure that you have at least 4 Ghostbusters operating under your franchise at any given time. Now, you two are already going to become Ghostbusters and whatnot. You need to hire 2. You need to hire 2 more. And we've already started doing some of the work for you. We've got a couple applicants that you can take a look at already. If you decide to do so. To make your life a little bit easier. Their names are John. Their names are John, and they're actually in the back of my car already.
wow,
Isn't that friggin' convenient? That's what the Ghostbusters
So
are
you're
about.
in a coupe.
Convenience and service with a smile. You don't even have to thank me. So, all right, John and Jeff, come on in. Introduce yourselves.
Hello,
Hey,
guys.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to talk.
So I brought you in here for a job, and you're just staring at them. So you're doing great, guys. Jesus Christ.
Well,
Colin,
I
I've
know
got,
this guy.
most confidence.
I know this guy. I know Graham,
Oh, you
and
already
I know
them.
Colin.
See? Ghostbusters at again. Sometimes we just connect to the ethereal plane, and then suddenly we know these things, and we don't even mean to. That's what we are, Ghostbusters.
I don't trust him.
What is your previous work history?
I work at a defense contracting place, and I'm an analyst.
Defense, a place.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate?
Yeah, so I make sure that the company is following rules and distributing money to small businesses correctly.
So you're money man.
I'm not a money man, but I definitely deal in numbers. I'm a numbers guy. Pretty smart. And yeah. Pretty smart. Yeah.
So one of the things we're gonna have to do here, right?
Sure.
So a numbers guy is great and all.
Yeah.
But 100%, you're gonna have to understand this interesting tech that we're gonna be throwing at you. What is your comfort level with new technology? Potentially life altering technology.
Well, I built 2 PCs by myself. Well, the first time I had help. The second time I did it by myself. And then
with Legos.
Yeah, Legos. I like Legos.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
good.
do like Legos. Graham, come on, just give me the job, brother.
So one thing
Our wives are cousins.
One thing that concerns me is that for your current job, you're sort of like a regulator in terms of how the government is acting. And I'm going to be honest, some of what we do is more into the morally, legally, ethically, scientifically gray areas of society.
Okay.
And I want to make sure that we're not going to run into any issues with you maybe reporting back to some of your buddies back at the government for things that we may have to do in order to best serve the people that we are here to help, which are the local populace.
No, he's fine with that.
I'm
what
okay
I'm more
with
worried
greatness.
what I'm more worried about is something that's going to come up more often than you think. Do you believe in UFOs, astral
Yes.
projection,
Yes.
mental telepathy,
Yes.
ESP, clairvoyance,
Yes.
spirit photography,
Yes.
telekinetic movement,
Yes.
full trans mediums, the
I don't
Loch
know
Ness
what that is.
Monster?
Yes. I've
And the
seen
theory
him.
of
The Loch
Atlantis?
Ness Monster.
It's not really a theory, but do you believe in Atlantis?
Atlantis? Yes. I saw the TV show.
Do you only say yes?
No. But I believe in all those things. Bigfoot, UFOs, all of it. I get all of my information from Alex Jones. So,
Hey,
right there.
well, Graham, even though there's a lot of nepotism involved here, I think we can, I think I'm good with this one.
I think if we don't hire him, I'm going to be in bigger trouble.
Because I need to buy that bass boat. Come on, guys.
Oh, God damn it. Fishing. Yeah, what you
Jeff, you've just been kind of
Alright,
standing
Danny.
around while I've been interviewing John here in front of you. Just
Alright,
kind of
Danny.
looking.
So, Jeff, have
Yeah.
you ever experienced moments of dread or confusion when reading any particular books or mail? Because I know what you do.
What? No.
Have you picked up any magazine and felt confused?
I mean, confused more on why they're getting that type of magazine, but that was it.
Jeff, how do you feel about workplace nudity?
Fully accepting it.
He's hired.
All right, we're good.
I didn't get the same questions.
All right, so just for survey purposes, we gave the franchise owners some of these questions. We actually take note of some of these things too for future franchises too. So, Ghostbusters International will actually have some questions for you too. Are you okay with that?
Sure.
I mean, sure.
Awesome, that's fantastic. I'd ask them anyway. So, when was the last time you had deja vu?
Every
And
single
both of
day.
you can answer whenever you're ready. Whenever you're ready.
Every single day.
Every single day. That's fantastic. What specifically?
It's almost like I do the same exact thing every single day.
You know what? Venkman was talking about this where he said he was stuck in a time paradox and he was living the same day over and over before. That is that kind of like what you're talking about? Is this like the same? How many times have you been through this interview?
This one's the first time, so I might have left it, but I might start again Monday.
Oh, you broke the cycle. Congratulations. That's great. What about you, John? When was the last time you had deja vu?
To be honest, I think the last time I heard about deja vu was Matrix, where the cat walks by like this, and the cat walks by again. But I haven't experienced deja vu since then.
So you're the big brains guy in this group. Great. That's awesome. All right.
You know it.
When's the last time you had a dream that came true in real life, and what was it?
Ooh.
Masturbation is not an answer.
Are you sure?
Yes, just don't say it.
Or do you need, do you understand the question fully?
Yes.
What about you? What about you, Jeff? You look like you're a little confused.
I wasn't
When's the last
reading.
time? All right. Well, I'm only really going to ask one more question here. And I mean, honestly, it's mainly because we've ran into these things a little bit more often than not. So it's kind of more of a statistics thing than it is a personality question. But If you were to be encountered with a spooky, scary skeleton, would it send shivers down your spine?
I mean, what spooky, scary skeleton doesn't?
All right.
Oh.
What about you, John?
I'm not afraid of any ghost.
Okay, so you would say, let me just make sure I write this down properly.
Yeah.
You wouldn't say it would send shivers down your spine. Would it give you chills, goosebumps, cold sweats, anything else? Maybe not specifically shivers down your spine.
Probably goosebumps.
All right,
Diarrhea.
goosebumps.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I think I have enough information here, and now that you kind of have your franchise set up here, the next order of business to kind of figure out what kind of moves on is there's some officers that need to get figured. So people that are specifically in charge of certain aspects of the franchise. Again, we do this to make sure that operations are moving smoothly, and if you do well, the franchise does well, and we all make money, and then that we're all here for. So, in this instance, we have 3 officer positions that need to be filled by the franchise, and that is the president, effectively, CEO, just the executive officer that can act as an agent on behalf of the franchise that aren't necessarily franchise owners. So if you want somebody else to be the president of this or have those official duties, that would be nice.
That's you,
The
Colin.
ne-
That's just
the
saying.
next
Okay. Yeah, I'm president. That's
I mean,
me.
that's
the
settled.
Yeah.
the next officer that we have is a finance officer or the CFO of your franchise. Obviously, there are some accounts and stuff that you have to make sure that you're running green, and make sure you don't go bankrupt. We don't want anybody to go bankrupt here, but you're also not going to get any help from us.
I mean, how do you feel? John was a numbers guy.
Yeah, I don't
I mean,
mind.
unless, because I know your background, Colin, unless you want me to be the president of the company, you could do the numbers.
No, I want to be the president.
What other roles and responsibilities are there?
The final role and responsibility is kind of like head researcher or like a CTO.
Oh, give it
of
to me, baby. Give it to me.
To what? There's a
Well,
third.
it isn't
Head
up to me.
researcher.
It isn't up to me at all. This is just
Yeah.
for us in record
Well,
keeping.
Graham,
This is for you to figure
You
out.
and I own this, and
Yeah,
these two were thrust on us.
Yeah, I
So,
love researching. I love the technology. I just want to get
Yeah.
it done, baby.
You're good. You can be researching. So,
Cool.
Now, technically, you can have two
roles.
two roles, but I mean,
It could
You
be a little much.
So who's
Can-
good
can
with
we-
So who's got? So we know John's good with numbers. Jeff, what is your background with numbers?
Are you good at any math?
I mean, I'm all right with math.
What does that mean?
I'm feeling very confident about your abilities
God,
in a business.
these
with us.
two guys.
Jesus
seriously.
Christ. What are we?
Colin and Graham, it is perfectly normal to have cannon fodder when you're out ghost busting. It just as franchise owners, you're the ones liable. They're not necessarily liable. For
Is that
all
a
the bills.
position? Is that a named position? Because that's what you name the
Cannon
map.
fodder.
I don't know. I think we'll be all right.
Whoa. It's a little harsh here, guys.
No.
I mean, so again, what is your math experience? Lay it on me.
I'm good. Jesus.
I mean, because we heard in the interview, John deals with numbers and accounts and making sure people are following the rules, right? Government
Yeah.
contract, big and
Sounds
small,
perfect
right?
for the job.
What are you?
Jeff doesn't want it. John, you're the accounts guy.
Yeah.
All right, that's fantastic. And during this entire time, you can switch roles and whatnot. Nothing is necessarily specific. This is your franchise. It is your business. You're just running as Ghostbusters. All right. Now that we've kind of figured out a little bit of how your franchise is now functioning. You now have the required minimum to run a franchise for us. So congratulations, first off, for meeting all the requirements. I'm also going to be helping you find your headquarters based on the numbers you gave us on the franchise, as well as kind of help with the initial requisition forms to ensure that Ghostbusters International can equip you guys to bust ghosts and make you feel good.
Okay.
All right. So, what I've done, speaking out of character right now, what I've done is I've taken the average housing prices for Graham's area and Collins area and added them to equal their seed money effectively. Obviously, with the Northern Virginia area, it's not a inconsequential amount, but
Nope.
it's one of those things that, like, if you budget poorly, you're gonna go bankrupt. If you budget fine, like, honestly, if you don't have jobs every week, it won't necessarily be the end of the world. If you know how to budget properly. If your accountant is big brained enough.
Oh god.
We'll be fine. I took a Dave Ramsey course.
Yeah.
Yeah, Debt Snowball. I know all about it.
Okay. So we call that a pro gamer move. Right.
Oh Christ.
Oh my god.
Right. Okay, so kind of still speaking out of character, I'm going to be giving a number real quick
Okay.
into chat, and that is what your total budget is. If I lost my window, where the hell's my window? There we go.
Well, the president has to sign off on everything anyway, so yeah.
Great. That just means I'm
All
doing
right.
it.
So you've been given, you've been able to wrangle through mortgaging your property or remortgaging your properties and all this other stuff. Pulling out small business loans. $773,255 of straight cash. You've already paid off your your initial franchise fees, so this is all liquid for you to purchase buildings, vehicles, and whatever else you may need from Ghostbusters International.
Oh, I'm building spreadsheets. Oh, great. John, we get to build spreadsheets. Right. I'm really excited.
Yeah, buddy. All right.
I have one set up.
Oh, good. Perfect.
Yep.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Right. So, in this instance, we've taken a look at we've talking to Fred McGrath. He reached out to us. He said he was going to reach out to you too about certain hot spots and whatnot. So we've taken the liberty of looking at all your financial information and kind of finding a place that would suit the minimum requirements of a Ghostbusters headquarters. So we found 4 locations. I'm going to show that to you now. We found 4 locations, and you'll notice they kind of coincide with those hotspots that hopefully Fred reached out to you for. One, they both say 4 there. My bad. But
here at Ghostbusters International, you guys seem to be very big on accuracy and details.
We're super busy, and like I said, one of those documents was a release from damages. So if we give you proper information, really it's up to you to double verify that our information is correct so that you guys can make the best choices for your business as possible. Man, I am improving like crazy right now.
Anyways.
All right. So we found locations in the middle of DC. Obviously some of those can get kind of expensive. We found a location out in Manassas, but we've also heard that traffic can get pretty bad in that area. Found one in the middle of Fairfax, which is kind of in the middle of everything, to be completely honest. And then one out in Leesburg, kind of far. but we did see some stuff on that report that Fred gave us as well. So we decided to just say, hey, you know what? If you guys want to do that, like, it's out there. It also seems like it's one of the cheaper monthly options, and that commute aren't necessarily too, like getting out of Leesburg isn't necessarily a chore.
Yeah, it's
Like,
going
Yeah,
with traffic. You're
getting
going
into
with-
everywhere else is.
No, you're going with traffic, man. You're going with.
Yeah.
But yeah.
My God.
All right.
Is there more? I mean, we also have more information. I've got some floor plans for you if you want. I've got a drive-by picture of some of these areas.
Can you show us the Manassas one?
Yeah.
The drive-by
Sure.
picture of the Manassas site. And
Manassas and Fairfax.
Manassas and Fairfax. Actually, I'm kind of leaning a little towards Fairfax, even though it's more expensive.
All right, so I'm just gonna, when I show you the Manassas one, just know that it has a rough exterior.
Oh, good, a shithole.
But it could look good. It could look good. I think the floor plan, the bones are there.
How do I delete what I just put on there? I apologize.
If you click the arrow and do select move, you should be able to click on it and delete.
There you go. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. I'm not even on that page. Like, I'm not even looking at it.
No, I understand. I accidentally did it as I was trying to figure some things out.
So,
Oh
guy
God.
my guy pulls out a manila folder with some basic rudimentary information about the Manassas location. I lay it out and I say, whoa, wait a minute. Like, again,
I love
it's
it.
got one of the things that it does have is that it has offices, 2 specific offices, which, I mean, 2 franchise owners, you could have your own office.
2 toilets, Colin. There's 2 toilets.
Got 2 toilets, exactly. One could be for the office suite people, and then the other for the others.
For the homeless people that break in to live there in the night.
So another thing,
It looks
too,
like there's a
is
car dealership next door, dude. Come on, this is great.
So another thing too is that the warehouse does have a roll-up door. And one thing that none of the other locations have is a shower next to the warehouse. And given a lot of what we do, showers are handy.
I do like being clean, Colin.
Show us the Fairfax one too.
Sure. Something to keep in mind with this particular one before we move on to the Fairfax is, yes, obviously it needs some work. We would need to figure out renovation costs and whatnot, but it is
It's
one
filling
of
me
the
with confidence with each one of these every time.
Show us the picture. Just show us the picture.
one of the
Just show us.
cheapest monthly. It's one of the cheapest monthly rents out there, and it could work. I mean, it could really work out.
It's the size
All
of my
right, so
garage.
you guys want the Fairfax location, right?
How many square feet is the Manassas one, roughly?
They're all 2,500 square feet.
Okay.
Out of character doesn't really kind of matter. We'll make it work regardless.
The ethereal plane.
Yeah, a bag of holding shit,
All right, I want to see Fairfax.
Yeah, so I rattle through my papers a little bit more, and I pull out another manila folder. It says Fairfax on it, and I open it up.
That's not bad.
Okay.
So this is a good space. Since it's in Fairfax, you have access to 66. You've got close access to 95. You've got metro, buses, all sorts of transportation. We recognize that some vehicles aren't always reliable, and that you might have to take other methods to get to your job. And the metro is a fantastic way to get there.
What does DF stand for?
Don't worry about the actual what's in the like look at the floor plan, but don't look at the
So there's a bathroom, a bathroom.
Those, but I had already uploaded
No, it's fine.
them.
No shower in this unit.
Correct. Again, the Manassas location was the only one with a shower. And again, you can change the floor plans to whatever you need to, but obviously that will incur additional renovation costs. Something that's really nice about this particular location is that it actually has a research lab built into it from a previous occupant.
Show up.
Mm,
I want to look at the Leesburg. I want to look at all of them. What's the or the
Yeah, sure.
not the DC one, but just the Leesburg location.
I don't know. I'm interested in DC. You never know,
Okay.
man.
All right,
Okay.
so I'm still, I as like everyone before, I start rummaging through my stuff and I whip out a manila folder and I put it on the table and show everyone. The
Oh,
cool
it's
thing,
2 stories.
correct. Well, it's 2 stories, but this is DC. This is a shared occupancy sort of type situation. You would have the ground floor, which is shown on the floor plans here. However, you would have tenants above you.
Do we?
Right, and those tenants are the law offices of Ernst and Mack.
Yeah, I vetoed DC.
Yeah, I just don't want to deal with that.
All right, let's look at Leesburg.
All right. Take out the manila folder, slam it on the table, open it up.
That's
This
a
one
big
is
warehouse.
probably the most blank slate out of all of them.
Just a big open
And
area.
it has all the electrical capability to it because there's a station nearby. You don't have to necessarily worry about so much electrical reliability and or scaling with that. Problem with this one, kind of sort of like the Manassas one, is you're gonna have to build it up a little bit. Now, granted, the building is fine. It's got good bones and structure, so it won't cost as much as necessarily as Manassas one, but there is still some cost to bring it up to EPA and Ghostbuster code.
Hmm. So,
Are there
Manassas
any
is-
that you would like? Are there any that you would like to particularly see? We can go ahead and drive around and I can show you these places if you'd like.
Take us. I mean, I want to go to. I mean, I work in Fairfax. Take me to Fairfax, man.
All right. Here, let me make sure I can see where everything's like laying on top of each other. Okay. So do you guys all agree to go ahead, get in the car, and head to the Fairfax location?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So we pull up, get out. This is going to be more narrative, by the way. We pull up, we get out. I say, all right, well, here we are. Go ahead and take a quick look around. Walk in. Take a little look see of what's going on. Check it out.
All right, so I'm opening the door. I go in and I'm going into the lobby, and I notice the second room on the right is a bathroom, and I just turn around and look at you, and I go, does the plumbing work?
Okay, I'm gonna ask you to roll brains.
I lost the floor plan. Is it in the
Yeah, if you
where-
newspaper?
look where the chat box is, you'll see the newspaper at the top right. It's called Journal.
Okay.
If you click on that, it should be in your journal now.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, no worries.
So I rolled the brains.
All right, you rolled the brains 15. You notice nothing. Nothing particularly wrong with the plumbing. Just seems fine. My character walks in, or the Ghostbusters International liaison comes in and says, "I see you're kind of looking at the toilet a lot. Is this kind of like? Do you want to know anything about the toilet?"
Cool. No, just making sure it works. A man's got to do what a man's got to do.
That's absolutely fair. I mean, that'd be.
So I start looking at the electricity, right? So I look at the HVAC because that's important. There's a lot of tech that's going to be going into this building.
Okay.
I want to make sure that it can withstand the load for what Ghostbusters is sending out.
Sure. Let me Let me see what your things are. Okay, so go ahead and roll electronics since you have that. All right. So you are thorough. I mean, like, you understand this building, like, just from looking at it. Like, contractors are in awe of your ability to just visualize the electrical topography of buildings at this somewhere, because this is kind of a flex space, like there's an electrician 2 doors down and he's pretty sure he just got a boner or something. He doesn't even know why. So at this point, you notice something a little weird, actually. You start investigating around, you start looking, and you see signs that the power may not be as reliable as what should be. It's up to code, but there's definitely something going on there.
What would be so with Grant? So since we see that the power's not okay,
It'd be a
would we-
brains at that point to understand why it's not working, right?
Well,
you're the one who sees that.
Right. Well,
Right,
no, that's
so
what I'm saying. It would be a brain.
Right. So you see absolutely that, again, everything's up to code, but you're seeing, signs of, the research equipment, some of the other things going on in the building that are just like, this building doesn't have reliable power coming to it. So it's nothing wrong with the building as a whole, but something about the power going into the building.
So I see Graham fiddling around with the electricity, right? He's looking around. I walk straight past him. I go down the hallway and into the warehouse. And I'm just kind of wandering around. I'm looking for a light switch.
Okay. So you I guess at that point, I mean, it's like you're looking for a light switch. You find the light switch. I'm not gonna make you roll for finding a light switch.
I turn on the light and I'm
Right,
just
right.
checking out the warehouse space.
Sure. So you notice that when you turn on the light, keep in mind, again, meta stuff here. I think I've talked about this before. Graham and you are in different rooms at the moment.
Right. I'm in the lobby right now, like the copy
Correct.
room area.
Oh,
Right. And you're in the warehouse area. So you notice that when you turn it on, that the lights kind of dim. And then they kind of go full power again.
that's weird. I'm gonna go around the corner, the 90-degree corner there, and just see what I see.
All right. At this point, you just see an open area. Are you talking about the one with the you're in
The
warehouse?
29 by 2 or
Yeah,
the
29 by 10-7. 10-7?
Bottom
Yeah.
left.
bottom
left. Yeah.
Okay. So you see, I mean, it's just an open area. To your right, you see a door and access way right next to the rolling gate and whatnot.
Okay.
Other than that, it seems empty. There's some garbage in the corner that obviously wasn't cleaned up.
So I'm gonna walk back out through the warehouse door and go back to Graham in the copy room and tell him that I saw the light turn on and dim and then went up to full power. I'm not sure if it's like fluorescent or anything. I don't know.
Son of a
what's going on.
bitch.
With your electronics roll, Graham, and this information, it is absolutely confirmed that this building does not have reliable power coming from utility.
From utility. Okay.
Yeah. So not the building itself.
I had been standing outside the front doorway, sort of looking around, just seeing just looking at the traffic flow, looking at the main street, kind of getting a feel for the particular area and office park, looking at the fenced in area, seeing if that would cause us any issues if we needed to go out late at night. I'm going to
make you roll a brains roll.
Okay.
I'm going to make you roll a brains roll to determine, because you asked specifically if it's going to cause you problems. You're thinking strategically, you're thinking tactically, you're figuring stuff out.
Oh, God.
Okay. So
It's
So at this
fine.
point, you just can't conceptually see any problems. You see, down the road, there's, signs and billboards. It looks like there's a deli, a couple spaces down, so there's food options. Parking seems okay, a couple potholes and whatnot. But one of the problems that you have is now you got the splitting headache because you're just thinking so much. I mean, maybe roll, wrong side of the bed or anything else like that. So because of that unlucky roll, not that it's going to really impact much, but for the rest of the day, you get a -1 to brain because you have a headache.
Now, do you put that in, or does Colin have to put that in?
Just keep track of it. So like don't like change your numbers on your character sheet. I'll just
We'll make notes.
Oh
That's
no,
us.
make
because
notes.
it does totals for me. I think I can break them. Yeah, if I hover over them. So if you just roll brains, you don't have to change any of your numbers. I'll just take off the lowest number.
Okay. Okay. So I kind of confused and irritated and headached from the sun. I go inside the building and I see John and Graham talking. Graham looks super irritated.
And I'm just cursing.
So I go up to him. What's going on? What happened?
Dude,
Obviously something's up.
The power is shit coming into here. Like, seriously shit.
Hmm.
There's going to be so much work to work with a utility company to get this to work correctly. I don't know if this is worth it, man.
Hmm.
Just to get it up and working. I mean, do we need to? I'm thinking, like, at this point, because we got dirty power coming into the building, what kind of battery backup system, what kind of ups do we need to put into the building, right?
How much is this going to cost us if we have to upgrade the power?
We'll likely need a generator also. So, like, we're looking at the cost of a generator, and we can't have this equipment going out.
And rewiring.
So, it would have to be able to fail over. There'd have to be a battery that's good enough to be able to take whatever trickle shit coming in.
Mm.
We're gonna lose an office to get all the equipment we need up and running.
Mm.
So it's been about 5-ish minutes. You guys are discussing the power situation. Jeff and the Ghostbuster liaison is just kind of chilling outside. Yeah, just kind of chilling outside.
Taking a smoke break.
His eye in the deli. Oh, baby.
Yeah.
Oh,
Um,
guys, perfect location.
I'm going to ask this before I kind of move forward with things, Jeff. Is there anything you want to take a look at in the building or anything else like that? Or are you kind of okay? Your character knows nothing about this building at the literally nothing about this building except that
I'm just here with all my bosses for the ride.
Oh, okay.
I'm not your
So
boss.
I walk back in.
You're my financial manager now.
So as you walk back in, I run right over to you and I just say, "The power is shit here. Is this something that you will get fixed?"
Oh shit! I mean, we're not the owners of this building, but that is absolutely a requirement to have reliable power. I don't want to necessarily bring in the issue we had with the EPA back in 1986, but the last time a containment unit lost power, it kind of caused a lot of problems.
Yeah, I remember seeing that on the news.
Okay, so you know what? If you want to see some other locations before I talk to the particular owners and bring them on in a conference call or something like that with everybody on the phone, and then maybe we can like talk about potential solutions for everything if there are solutions that are acceptable.
Let's go
Yeah,
look at
no,
the
that's
Manassas location.
super unnerving. That's
Well,
super
so
unnerving.
more than that. So, like, let's keep that on the back burner, because the
Sure.
truth is that, like, I agree with Colin 100%. We still want to look at other locations. We want to actually step inside. So as I'm looking around, like, the copy room, and as I rushed over to you, and I'm looking at, like, the open office doors and whatever. I haven't been into the warehouse yet.
Yeah.
Is there any equipment that's left behind that we could use?
Yeah. So actually, if you notice right across from the copy room, you know, at least in the picture, it's the 70 by
It
71.
looks like a closet.
You're right. It isn't. It's like, again, the floor plans on this, like,
Yeah,
I
I get
literally Googled
Mhm.
these. But at this point, that's just like a nook that has like, it's got microscopes, it's got anti-mass spectrometers, portable version, not the one that Black Mesa has. It's got
So a bunch of
spectral
research equipment.
analyzers. Yeah,
Yeah.
it has a ton of research
Is
equipment.
it working?
Um, it seems fine, but I'm also not someone that's good with tech necessarily.
Can I
I'm more
check
of a
to see
lay.
if it's working?
Yeah, rolling electronics.
Roll another electronics.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
Mm.
So you notice that everything seems to be in working order. You're turning things on and off and trying to figure stuff out. But as you turn one of the pieces of equipment on, the power dims, the machine turns off, and the lights go back to normal, but you flick it on and off again, and it doesn't look like it's coming back up.
Great, just more shit power. This is awesome.
Mm.
More for me to work on. I
I'm not
I-
feeling good about this place.
yeah. So I
Okay.
John did while you were in the warehouse.
Yep.
Did you see anything in there?
Just garbage.
Just garbage.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Yeah, they
Do you
didn't.
want
They
me?
didn't clear.
Do you want me to go into? Do you want me to go into the warehouse? Did you look around all of it? I haven't even seen where the HVAC is yet.
I mean,
Well,
if
not
you
all
want to.
floor plans have
Yeah, I
HVAC,
could
by the
show you
way.
where the light switch is and where I found the garbage.
So- all right, I'm done with this place. I'm
All right.
done.
All right. So you guys are choosing to go to Manassas?
Yeah, let's go
Yeah,
to
let's go to
Manassas.
Manassas.
All right.
Okay, out of
So-
character. I thought that
Yeah,
was
go
a
for it.
ghost. Just putting that out there.
What was a ghost?
We already left. The fucking power was
Yeah,
messed up.
Oh,
Yeah. But you immediately went to Graham. You started talking. Well, you didn't immediately go to him, but you talked to him,
quickly.
and it just confirmed everything, that it was just a power related thing,
Okay.
and not.
So we're in
paranormal.
Manassas.
All right, I gotta find that page.
Oh,
God damn it, not molasses.
All right, so Manassas, the fixer-upper opportunity. So we pull up to right next to that red dumpster over there, and whatnot, and it doesn't look like it's been like worked on recently. It kind of looks like it was an abandoned project in some sort, so you don't necessarily know what's good, what's not inside the building. Just that the outside looks like shit.
Is there a functioning closing garage door?
he said there was a rolling cage door when we first talked about it in the back.
right.
A big rolling
Yep.
steel door.
Cool. And no windows. Those are just boarded right now, right?
Cool.
Those would have to get.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it does have a reception area, which is nice if we ever decide to hire a receptionist.
So, and that's just looking at a piece of paper, right? I'm looking around. What's around us?
Sure. So you notice that the structure is there, that the wall partitions are there. Most of the doors are there. But it's obvious that you've got wires coming down from the ceiling. It's just concrete flooring. Not all the outlets are installed, or the switches, but
That's easy. That's
it really does look like it's a building that's like halfway done.
Hey Graham,
what's
do
up.
you think this place can handle the power for the stuff that we're gonna need to put in here?
Oh no, I'm gonna have to check it out, man.
All right.
Okay.
You take a look at everything. You're seeing when you first walked in, you saw these cables, and you're like, great, another power issue. But you're starting to really kind of look into things, and you're not seeing anything wrong. You're actively not seeing anything wrong. Is there anything else you want to do to potentially test the power to the building or anything else like that?
So are we entering from the warehouse side, or are we entering in from the
The
reception?
Reception.
All right,
Reception.
just making sure.
Yeah.
You know, as I walk into the reception, uh, I turn and look at you, and I just kind of go, is there any equipment here that's left behind that we can test? Any power load? Any, like, is there anything left behind by the previous tenant?
For sure. So no, I mean, at this point, it's just, again, this seems like it's like half constructed, so it's like it looks more like a construction site.
Sure.
So the liaison looks at it and says, again, we found this stuff online, and we've been given, permission to kind of walk the property and whatnot. So I don't have any reason to believe anything was left behind. But
Is
I
the plumbing
mean,
working?
they say it is.
All right. So can I check the plumbing?
You
I'm gonna
don't-
turn on the faucet. What do I need to roll for that? Just brains?
Right. Yeah, just. And other people can roll as well if they want to check that stuff too. So if you want to direct other people to be like, check the toilets, everyone, or something along those lines.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Hey, Jeff. Hey, Jeff. Could
Because,
you
like,
go
I
into
know
the?
I know
Jeff,
that
go
the
to the.
electronics are working well.
Yeah.
Like, there's no power load issue.
Jeff, could you go to the open office area and the conference room and or the conference room? Like, go past
Get the lights
reception. There's
turned
an
on.
open area there, supposedly, and a conference room area. Could you go there and check that out?
Yeah.
And John, can you go to the warehouse with Graham?
Yep.
And check out that in the shower.
Yeah, I'm gonna walk straight through the open office area, and I'm gonna go straight into the warehouse and flick on the light switch again.
Light switch man.
So
I got the lights.
you forget you turn on the light switch, and it lights like half the lights in the warehouse turn on, the other ones don't.
Okay.
But yeah, that's kind of it. Just half the lights turn on, half of them don't.
And then same time I'm walking in the conference room.
Now I notice, because I'm in there, because I rolled so high on electronics when I entered the building, right?
Yeah.
I noticed, because that was the second roll, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I noticed that, like,
The plumbing
only-
was brains, electronics is 24. Yeah.
yeah. So I noticed that, like, the reason that the electric isn't working is because it's just in the middle of construction.
It's just not done. Yep.
Right. It's not
Yeah,
that there's any
everything
power
needs-
issue. It's just I noticed that, like, things aren't connected and whatever.
Correct.
Are there any shelves or like any kind of furniture in the warehouse along the walls or in the middle? Is it just empty space?
Blank
It's
space.
just a completely open, empty space on the far end. The roll-up door is installed, but the door to the right of it, the entryway there, is just boarded up.
I'm gonna
So I
go
text-
over to the.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. I'm gonna go up to the roll-up door and start messing with the buttons and seeing if I can get it to open and close.
Buttons. Come on, it's roll up door.
All
I
right,
don't
all
know
right.
what a roll-up door is.
There's no buttons.
So I'm texting Colin, and I'm saying, like,
The motorized
this is-
ones.
this is looking pretty good at the moment. No real power issue, not like the Fairfax location.
So I turned
But
to
could
the
you?
Ghostbusters rep. I read the text and I turn to the Ghostbusters rep. So what else can you tell me about this location? What else?
No.
Not just basic generic information. I know that you have better connections than that. What can you tell me about this location?
So about this location, we have a group of folks out in International that just focus on the real estate side of Ghostbusters International, and they try to do their due diligence working with owners and real estate folks to allow us to be able to walk this stuff, because the critical nature of a lot of the equipment that we put in here. So, real estate agents aren't generally going to know what the hell's going on. So they just allow us to walk this kind of stuff. Really, it just we were given these 4 locations to that they met the requirements that the franchise has. I'm from New York. I don't necessarily know this area too well.
Well, so it's
I mean, at the end
Like, we
of
get-
this though, we're going to be talking with we're going to have some conference calls.
What
with
kind of
realistic-
conversations? What kind of the equipment that's needed based off? So not counting the kind of stuff we have here. What equipment are we talking about?
Sure. So the 2 big things are, obviously it just needs to have electrical, like a really solid electrical in, because the ecto containment unit has to be running 24/7 to be able to contain the ghosts that are captured and put in there from your ghost traps, as well as all of the material, all of the tools that you have. They are portable, so they need an area to charge, and they also need sometimes special apparatus to charge, much like the proton packs. You can't just necessarily plug into a wall and work out. They're
Okay.
So the
portable
did that,
colliders.
sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
I was just wondering if the roll up door opened up
Works.
so I can check out in the back.
It works flawlessly
Okay.
up until the point where the lock engages, and it can only go up like a foot.
Oh. Well, I'm confused. I'm confused at
I
why
walk
it's
over to
locked
it and I'm
over.
pissed. Yeah, I see John hit it, and I'm pissed. Like I know I have anger issues, right?
Opening it, just chunk.
Like, the F is
Chunk.
going on.
Chunk.
So I just walk over to it, and I just wanna kick it. I just wanna be like, maybe it's just stuck. I just want to hit
Well,
it.
you can. I mean, you don't have to roll for this, but there is a lock that's obviously catching it.
Oh, okay.
I'm just
Yeah,
so
like-
pissed.
Hey,
At this point, I'm just pissed.
specifically- Okay, what do you specifically want to kick?
I just want to kick as hard as I can
The door.
because it's
Okay,
stuck.
So and you
Well-
had said all the office area, every room, that there was really no equipment in here, right?
Yeah, no, it's just complete.
Like
It's,
and then
again,
but like office equipment, anything like that, no tables, no chairs, no nothing. Okay.
no, the only type of tables you see are like makeshift ones that contractors do to put
Sure.
tools and stuff.
Okay, cool.
So I kicked it and I rolled an 11.
You
So
kick
I
it.
I just kicked it. And John's like, good job.
It makes
So I
a
asked-
really
Well, so I
And
see
I
that.
loud noise.
I asked
Sorry.
I asked Ian to take if we can take a minute, or Ian's character, the Ghostbusters rep, if we can just have a minute. I need to go talk to the others. And I
Yeah, go for it.
I
And
text
he hears the loud bang from my kick.
I heard it from the 2 idiots that I work with, and I'm gonna go. I yelled out for Jeff, who's in the conference room, and open office to come meet us in the warehouse over by the door where the ding dongs are trying to open a locked door.
Me, Colin, come in watching. Graham
Watching ding dongs try to open a locked door. I have a headache. I'm stressed. I'm it's been a long couple days.
Can't so.
So I'm gonna make this so much better, and I see that there's a lock now. Okay, I'm gonna pull out my firearm. I'm gonna shoot it. I'm gonna shoot the firearm because I saw it on TV.
before
Someone's
you
getting
shoot.
shot.
No,
Someone's
no,
getting shot. Character.
Before,
Someone's getting hit with a bullet, and Jeff
before he
knows it.
shoots. Before he shoots it,
It's
I
already
know.
happening. I rolled it. Oh God!
Oh my god!
Oh no!
Oh my
Someone's
God.
getting hit
Oh,
with a
but
bullet.
it's
Someone's getting hit with a bullet.
succeeded.
It succeeded.
Colin!
You got a ghost eye, dude.
This one for a second.
Son of a bitch! I'm right next to you, you ding dong.
Well, I see it and I
first
see
statement-
yeah.
All of
Wait.
You know, the first. What are you brainsing?
I hit the wrong button. Oh, damn it, Colin. I fell and just slipped past you. Didn't save you in time.
Well, I gotta have the narrative for you. Don't know if it's gonna hit.
yeah, let
I
Ian do the narrative because he has to tell us what happened after
Right.
a gun has been fired in a small enclosed
Yeah.
space at a
At a metal door.
All right, so obviously, so you pull out your firearm, you aim it toward at the lock. Graham has just kicked it. There's a lot of loud noise going on, and then you fire at the lock. The
Bang.
lock shatters. It just it shatters.
I did it.
Except
Everyone in the room. So that would be John, Graham, and Colin, correct? You all three are in the warehouse. Jeff is the only one not in the warehouse.
yeah.
Okay. Because there's no, I mean, it's just an open warehouse, and you guys were pretty close to the door. The echo gives a temporary -1 to move because of the ringing in your ears.
Great.
Tinnitus. We all got
Great.
tinnitus.
I put my hands over my ears and I scream out, "John, what the fuck?"
I saw it on TV and
Put
it
it away.
apparently works.
So the door now open, and I lift it up, right? Like it's
Okay.
unimpeded. And do I see anything behind the building?
You see small parking and a way to the front.
That's
Perfect.
all I wanted
He
to know.
sees
Thanks.
He sees me. He turns around and he sees me yelling at John.
But I can't hear him.
And no one can hear.
Yeah,
No one can hear. My hands over my ears, and we're all screaming and saying, "What?" That's what I think. is
And I'm
going-
finally just entering the warehouse going, what the fuck's going on, guys? Why is everybody screaming?
All right. So
So I pull out my phone and I do a group text because nobody can hear.
Well, it's just rain. You can still hear. It's just muffled. It's just mop, mop,
just
mop.
wait. All right. So
Mop.
you're texting.
Mop.
You're doing a group text. You're doing a group text.
So outside of the new bullet hole in the door and the lock now being broken permanently, that will now have to be repaired. What do you guys think?
I like it. It seems like a fixer-upper, but we can make it ours. I like it.
It's a bit of a fixer-upper.
Graham, so you said the electronics. So I was talking
What's
with
wrong with that?
with the rep and and he's explaining about the need for the containment unit needing to have a direct source to outside power. And
Yeah,
be
power looks great. It's just, again, it's gonna need a lot of work. I mean, if you're willing to put in time to help me get this working, that'd be awesome.
Okay.
And while this text is going on, I'm just talking to McGrath, asking, why the hell's everybody texting? Why is everybody not answering me?
I look over at Jeff and I go,
What?
Okay. All right, so then I walk back to the front area to the Ghostbusters rep.
Mhm.
And I very loudly, I have to be quiet because out of character. I have to be quiet because I'll wake up my kid, and that's not worth
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine.
anybody. It's not worth what'll happen to me.
I get it.
So I walk up to the Ghostbusters rep. The others are still in the warehouse. I walk up to him and I go really loudly scream. So we really, really like the place. We see a lot of potential in it. We're interested, and I think this is the one we want to pull the trigger on. But I would like to discuss the monthly cost just due to the sheer amount of work we're going to have to do to set it up. I want to know what we can do to maybe make this a little bit worth our time, because it is in a higher volume traffic area. So that's going to be a bit of a pain for us. And we've got and the monthly expenses are not exactly the cheapest. So we're looking at with the, yes, the monthly cost is the lowest, is low from the ones you showed us, but there is a lot of work involved, and I'm looking to I'm looking to keep my overhead.
Absolutely. And that's honestly, even with the with the other location, like, we're going to have discussions with these owners to ensure that they're meeting the requirements. And if they don't meet your requirements, obviously they're off the table. So we're gonna have these meetings. I have these meetings scheduled. I have these meetings scheduled for later. if you want to take a look at the other property.
Oh.
Do you guys?
Yeah.
Oh.
Thanks, John. Thanks.
So you obviously, the police sirens are getting louder, and whatnot, and you see, or at least Colin does. Everybody else is out in the warehouse, but everybody's hearing the siren. The building's pretty open. Colin, you see, and Jeff, you see a police cruiser pull up, and two officers get out, hands on their holsters, and they're like, "Who are you? What are you doing here? What's going on?"
So I walk up to the I put my hands out, palms out, facing. I say, "Hi, officer. My name is Colin Crook. I'm hoping to open up a new franchise here. This is a Ghostbusters rep coming down from New York,
Yep.
working with us.
Okay.
We're just looking at some properties. There was an incident in the back in the warehouse that was unexpected.
What incident in the back? What happened? We've had reports of there being loud noises coming from the back of this building, and then subsequently a firearm.
Just convince them everything's fine.
What happened?
Convince them
What
everything's okay. Just
Was there
convince
a
them everything's
firearm?
okay.
What's going on here?
Just
Okay,
convince
so
them.
I can't.
So at
so
this point,
there was a bunch of, yeah.
at this point, his partner is going up to Jeff, and saying, "Sir, you're gonna have to please step over here near the squad car while we continue to sweep the area."
Okay. So I talked to the first. I continue talking to the officer, and I explained to him. I go, there was a few of us in the back. We were checking on a faulty door that was not able to roll up. We were having some issues with the lock. It created a very loud banging noise, similar to a gunshot. All of us had our bells rung a bit by this noise. It was extremely loud. We're not surprised to see you coming. It's amazing and wonderful that you fine officers are so quick to respond to potential danger in the area. And we truly appreciate that, because we're looking to rent this place for our new business to help, build up the town. And it's good to know that we've got the great, awesome Manassas Police Department out here to keep us safe.
All right, so sorry, one second. So at that point, you're roll convince.
Please roll high. For Christ. Oh, thank God.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, thank God.
I might have to, after this also, I might have to kind of fiddle with some of the difficulty checks, because how do you have 6? So 4 minus 1 plus 3. How is that equaling 24? That would mean you rolled
Oh, perfect.
well.
No,
No,
27 I think is perfect.
Oh, because convince is an added 3. So you had 3 before, 3 there.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah. Anyway,
He did really well at convincing.
Yeah, it was a good roll. So at that point, the officer is visibly calming down, and whatnot. He takes his hand away from the holster there, and starts questioning. Okay, so can I see your ID, please? Can I see what's going on here? Is there anybody else in the building that my partner should be aware of?
So
Or anything else like that?
There's 2 other people in the building. I see you're talking to my associate Jeff. He's a new hire as part of the business we're starting. There's my brother, who is my business partner. He's in the back in the warehouse with our other associate John. And then obviously here you have the Ghostbusters rep with me from New York.
Sure. Jeff, do you say anything to the other police officer? Again, he's still kind of on edge.
Man, I got some cashews. You want some?
Cashews? Well, shit! Stand down, officers! This guy's got cashews! No, no. No, he does
Free
not
clear
say
now.
that.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah.
He does say that.
Man, people don't know this loophole, but
Cashews.
cashews, man. All right, so at this point the cop looks at you just super credulously and it's just like fuck off, and it's just like go stand by the police car. I'm going to go investigate. The other police officer calls back and goes, hey, there's 2 other people in the building. These guys seem to be okay. Calm down just a little bit. Just be aware there are 2 individuals in that building. Just be aware. So the police officer walks up to the the reception area. He sees it's pretty open, so he just goes out into the open and he says, hey, well, everyone in this building needs to come up to the front outside where we both are. And
So I hear this officer from the thing, and I'm still holding the gun out, kind of celebrating. I shot the lock off. I hear this, and
Nice.
I stuff it back into the holster, and I pull my shirt down because it's a concealed
God.
carry. So
Oh, God,
it's all away.
He's trying to kill me.
I just followed the officer with my hands up.
Yeah, and I walk out. I walk out. This is all inside the warehouse where he can't see. Before I walk out.
I throw John
Okay.
to the dump.
So the both of you walk out. Like, okay, so the other police officer is talking with Graham and John. Jeff is by the police officer next to Colin. So the police officer next to you, Graham and John, actively says, all right, so the reports of these noises were coming where you guys were. I need you to tell me exactly what happened.
The door
Go
was
ahead, John.
locked. Yeah, I was back there. We were looking around. And I found a door, and the garage door wouldn't open, so Graham came over and he kicked it. And then the door opened.
I mean, you know how new construction is, or faulty construction. Sometimes shit just gets stuck. So I just kicked it.
I need you to both roll cool.
Cool.
This is bad.
Yeah.
This is bad.
Oh
bad.
God. Oh God.
No!
As I slowly whisper to Colin, let's run. Get the fuck out of here.
So the cop isn't buying any of it, like at all. He has honestly seen children give better excuses as
So
to
I
what's
look-
going on, or at least the entire situation. What happens is, at this point, though, as John is articulating and talking and explaining and all this other stuff, he sees the firearm. And at this point,
he should.
at this point, the police officer immediately draws his gun, points it to you, and says, "Get on the ground. Push the firearm away from you. Both of you, get on the ground immediately." Now, the other police officer, hearing the yelling, obviously, rushes in to provide backup and whatnot. So he's at this point, what do? You're getting told you've got
I
a gun
get down
pointed
on
at
the
you.
ground. I immediately put my hands over my head and I just say, "John's an effing idiot. He shot the lock."
So I
So
face,
at this point, well, real quick. So Graham said that you're gonna have to roll cool.
Who, me or John?
Yeah, you.
Oh God.
That's all you. I didn't.
All right. So the police officer is like hearing you and is like,
Just doesn't believe
you
anything I
know,
say.
I just at this point has no trust in the situation, regardless if you're telling it the truth at all or not. And because you just keep talking, at this point, the other police officer, comes up, and whatnot, and starts handcuffing you, for it.
Thanks,
John,
John.
we're about to do something.
I hate you, John.
Hey, so
You're fired.
Oh, what?
You're fired. You're fired. Colin, help me.
you
John, you're
can't
fired.
fire me. You can't fire me.
Yeah, I can. It's easy. You're fired.
You can't. We're basically family.
So during the when the other officer ran into the building, I followed behind.
Sure. Jeff, do you follow also?
Yeah.
All right.
So I follow behind. I see the situation unfolding. I see Graham on the ground. I see
Getting handcuffed.
I see John on the ground with his gun on the floor, and I realize the situation that has happened. So I quickly say, hold on. I go, this isn't what it seems like. I go, when we heard the bang as the door broke open, John has a concealed carry permit that we've all known about, and he got scared because it sounded like a gunshot. It was super loud. I should have said this sooner, but I did not think it was a pertinent fact because there was no gunshot from us. The door blew open, he pulled his gun out, and then he put it away with no problems. We are just looking to see about a place to rent. Again, we truly appreciate you fine officers and the work you're doing. I promise you there is nothing weird going on.
All right. Roll convince.
Please. Yes.
Who's saying
Oh, you guys are so lucky.
You are lucky. He's unlucky.
The police officer that
I have a true and cool, man. Like, there was no way I was getting out of any of that.
So at this point, the police officer that had talked to you before is, definitely more sympathetic to, you're sympathetic to his ear, and it's like, okay, like he's like looking at you glaringly, obviously he thinks you're all jackasses at this point. And the other police officer is starting to handcuff John, because he's the one with the concealed carry, and say, okay, we're gonna have to get a control of the situation. We're gonna have to verify this man's concealed carry, and we're just gonna have to get our get shit together, and whatnot. And during that time, you hear outside that just obviously somebody's pulled up, and they pulled up at speed, and someone's running in there. And it's your pal, Fred McGrath from the FBI.
Fred!
Jesus goddamn Christ, what the hell are you guys doing here? Oh my God. Like, friggin' I get a notify that, the guys that I'm working with here are now, like, getting arrested by the Manassas Police Department, which is friggin' down the road. And he's having...
Fred, you're about to retire. Have some cash, just make you happy.
So now you can see the veins bulging on Fred McGrath's face, and at this point, he speaks to the FBI. He speaks to the police. He speaks to the police officers, and just calms them down. Just say, I'm part of the FBI. These are my guys. You have no jurisdiction here. These are my jackasses to deal with. And they're all talking to each other. They stand down. They verify everything going on. John and Graham, you are uncuffed and you're standing at this point, and
Can't fire me.
and at this point, the police officers are leaving, and Fred is just like, what the I don't even need to know right now. I've already gotten enough information from these police officers. I can tell you one thing. is that the next time you get a government contract, there's going to be some money left out of it. At this
Hey,
point,
John.
Thanks, John.
at this
Not
point,
my
he,
fault.
after all of you have your tails between your legs kind of situation, and the Ghostbuster liaison is just kind of like bewildered the entire time, just like, did they make the right decision giving you guys a franchise? But then again, they already made the money.
So I take John's gun
And
away
they're
from him
not liable.
forcibly.
So I tell.
So they're not. And we're not. And the Ghostbusters International is not liable. You signed the paperwork. So at this point, the Ghostbusters, everything has calmed down, and stuff like that.
I'll
And the
never
Ghostbusters
forget.
liaison goes, okay, all right, that was a thing. That took a lot of the day away, and I was going to show you 2 more places, but I've already talked to the owners of the Fairfax, the Fairfax location in this one, and they're willing to kind of reschedule. They're willing to reschedule this conference call. And because obviously they want to sell these properties. Come to find out, the Fairfax owner absolutely knew of that situation, so they're just trying to be like, oh, but they're still interested. Oh, please, and whatnot. So you guys have, out of character, real quick. You guys have seen this. You've seen parts of this building, and whatnot. And do you want to see this location anymore? This will be the last action before the end of the session. It has already been 2.5 hours, so this is a little
I'm
lesson
good.
for me. Also, this is also a little lesson for me as well, in terms of like managing time, and also to everyone else that like narrative take a while.
Yeah.
And whatnot. And it can be a lot of fun. Especially when you decide to do silly things.
Well, I could have
And
just told the officer to fingerprint John.
oh yeah, instead you just
Offered him
offered
cash.
them
Cashew.
cashews.
The goddamn cashew. I'm seriously just gonna take John's gun and Jeff's cashews and burn them.
So in character, I say that like, my head's killing me. I was interested in seeing at least the Leesburg location, but at this point, fuck it, I don't care. We've seen 2 promising locations. We can schedule that conference call for the Manassas and Fairfax, so we can talk to the landlords about possible situations. We are leaning towards Manassas after talking to everybody.
You can make sure, there's the Leesburg location and there is the Washington D.C. location. The reports in there in the HQ prospects, if you scroll down, there is a table in terms of costs and to take into consideration.
And that's what I've been looking at. I mean, in terms of the 2, and we were going through. That's what I've spent most of my time focused on, is between Manassas and Fairfax. Leesburg would be the best, I think, overall cost-wise, but it's just really it's far out the beaten path, and I just don't have the energy. I think with everything that's happened today, and I'm good with not giving more opportunity for fun. Yeah. So I walk off. I walk away from you, and I gather up the troops. And I say, all right, chuckle fucks, listen. This can't happen. John, the gun's gone. I don't care what your legal right to conceal. I don't give a fuck. It's gone. It stays home. You can keep that wherever you want. It doesn't come with it.
This was America.
Yeah. It's the United States.
Two-way.
It's the United States to shut the fuck up. So the you keep the gun at home. No more shooting guns. At this point, I don't know if you'll ever have a proton pack. You may just be the guy. You may be guy that goes in room looking at Ghost and says, "Look, Ghost, so we can do work."
Okay.
Can I keep my gun?
You'll be trapped. Right. It's just literally cats all over his body, just throwing him everywhere.
No guns. No guns. No guns. No guns. No guns. No guns.
Okay.
I'm still salty.
Stay on. All right.
Yeah. So okay. At this point, what's going to happen next week is a continuation. There is still a scenario that I want us to do that is not canonical, but it still involves your characters. It's a little bit about like how attacking and like engaging, like that type of mechanics. So what since a lot of today was setting up characters and whatnot, I think we'll get to that. We only have 2 more buildings for you to figure out your HQ location, figure out the finances for those HQ locations, your equipment, and your vehicle. So this ends session 0.0, I guess, because it's going to be split up into
0.1.
0.02.
Yeah. Honestly, from a DM perspective, this is the type of stuff I want to see, to be completely honest. Like,
oh, this was awesome. That was super fun.
Yeah, allow yourself to be goofy. Allow yourselves to be
Play characters.
To play characters. Again, this is a like you're the Ghostbusters, man. Like, so allow yourself to make decisions like that, but also recognize like, I didn't, and I don't want to like humble brag right now, but like I hadn't practiced my ability to improv in a long time, and I think I kept up with the pace pretty well.
Yeah.
So that was really, really good.
Yeah, because John was throwing fireballs.
Yeah, like literally, I'm telling you, like just like in terms of the like just to tell you, in terms of the Manassas location and the descriptions of it, what you see written there, my GM notes only tell me the secrets of that building. It doesn't tell me descriptions. It doesn't tell me what it looks like. It doesn't tell me how it's functioning or anything else like that. Like everything else like that is ad lib. So that was I enjoyed doing that. So, but keep it. I'd like honestly do the weird stuff. If you think it's weird, just recognize that this is like one of the reasons why I wanted to make this session 0 is because like rolling ghost dies in this scenario are not inconsequential for the most part.
Yeah.
You know what I
This was
mean?
fun.
Like you're not gonna have turn.
This gave me a good idea as to how this is gonna go, and I think that's fun because I feel like we're building character personalities now.
Right, exactly. So